Welcome to DC Trending News, the leading news channel about world political events. Today's news: humiliation for Putin. Russian troops leave Snake Island just days after the Ukrainian missile attack on the Black Sea outpost. Kiev celebrates the withdrawal with a KABOOM message, and the Kremlin calls it a gesture of goodwill. Russian troops hastily left Snake Island today, dealing another blow to Putin's invasion, just days after Ukrainian forces launched a devastating missile attack on the outpost. Putin's troops remaining on the island fled in two speedboats in the middle of the night, leaving the rocky island under fire after another missile attack on the remaining Russian positions, the Ukrainian military said, as Kiev celebrated the retreat. The head of Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's office, Andriy Yermak, posted a jubilant message when he heard the news this morning. KABOOM. No more Russian troops on Snake Island. Our forces did a great job, Yermak wrote on Twitter, sharing a photo of smoke rising from the island after last night's attacks. The 100-acre piece of land 80 miles off Ukraine's southern coast was seized by Kremlin forces in the early days of the war but shelled by Ukrainian troops in recent weeks in a major offensive using long-range weapons. The Russian Defense Ministry immediately tried to portray the withdrawal as a goodwill gesture to boost grain exports and confirmed the withdrawal of its troops. However, the withdrawal is a humiliating strategic blow for Putin in a war in which he has lost tens of thousands of soldiers and large amounts of military equipment. The island, despite its small size, is of great strategic importance, as its location allows the owner to control maritime activities in southern Ukraine, especially around the large port city of Odessa. Prime Minister Boris Johnson said the Russian withdrawal showed the futility of the Russian leader's ambitions in Ukraine. In the end, it will be impossible for Putin to hold a country that does not accept his rule, Johnson told a news conference after a NATO summit in Madrid. We have seen what Ukraine can do to push the Russians back. We have seen what they have done around Kiev and Kharkiv and now on Snake Island. I think it is right that we continue on the course NATO has set, no matter how difficult it is. NATO leaders' talks continue in Madrid, where Joe Biden announced yesterday that the US will send thousands more troops, fighter jets, air defenses and ships to Europe to reinforce the alliance's eastern flank and protect the continent from Russia. The head of Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's office, Andriy Yermak, released a jubilant message this morning when he heard the news. KABOOM. No more Russian troops on Snake Island. Our forces did a great job, Yermak wrote on Twitter, sharing a photo of smoke rising from the island after last night's attacks. The 100-acre piece of land 80 miles off Ukraine's southern coast was seized by Kremlin forces in the early days of the war but shelled by Ukrainian troops in recent weeks in a major offensive using long-range weapons. The Russian Defense Ministry immediately tried to portray the withdrawal as a goodwill gesture to boost grain exports and confirmed the withdrawal of its troops. However, the withdrawal is a humiliating strategic blow for Putin in a war in which he has lost tens of thousands of soldiers and large amounts of military equipment. Despite its small size, the island is of great strategic importance, as its location allows the owner to control maritime activities in southern Ukraine, especially around the large port city of Odessa. According to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, Ukrainian troops destroyed a Russian Panzer anti-aircraft system, a radar station and several military vehicles in a series of attacks on the island on the 20th of June and in the early hours of the 21st of June. The attack came less than a week after the Ukrainian Operations Command carried out targeted strikes in the south of the island, with satellite imagery showing the large losses suffered by Kremlin forces. Another blow by the Ukrainian army against Russian troops on Snake Island. The Ukrainian Defense Ministry said, the occupiers have lost an anti-aircraft system Panzer. The cleansing of our country will continue as long as necessary. Unofficially, the Kiev forces used US-supplied HIMARS missiles, but this has not been confirmed, Ukrainian military spokeswoman Natalia Humiliation said last week. We are continuing a military operation on Snake Island. Last night, more than 10 targeted attacks were carried out on the island. We are currently reviewing the results. But we have already been informed that another Panzer S-1 anti-aircraft missile system was hit on Snake Island. One of the most memorable moments of the first days of the war occurred when Ukrainian border guard Roman Rybov radioed Russian warship Fu to Russian officers aboard the ship Moskva, threatening the island's guards with death if they did not surrender. Rybov and his crew were presumed dead after the Moskva shelled the island with artillery fire. Miraculously, however, they survived and were later returned to Ukrainian soil in a prisoner exchange. The man who had been presumed dead on the first day of the Russian invasion returned to his hometown of Cherkasy and was awarded a medal by the head of the region at the end of March for his bravery in the face of Russian aggression. Rybov's infamous phrase became one of the most famous symbols of patriotism and resistance in Ukraine and was shared millions of times on the internet. A video released by the Cherkasy State Regional Administration shows Rybov, dressed in an olive green uniform and sporting a military short haircut, gratefully receiving his award from the head of the regional administration, Igor Taburets. "I would like to thank the Ukrainian people for this support," Rybov said after the award ceremony. "We feel this support very strongly, it inspires us." A beaming Taburets said, "I think that Ukraine should really know its heroes and Cherkasy should know its heroes. The most important thing is that he survived, despite the moral pressure, despite everything, and he will be a role model for our Ukrainians and the people of Cherkasy." Russia's early morning withdrawal from Snake Island is the latest humiliation for the Russian Navy after the Moskva was sunk by a Ukrainian attack. Putin's flagship was badly damaged in April after a Ukrainian missile attack and eventually sank to the bottom of the Black Sea. Images apparently taken by a rescue ship that was alongside the stricken Russian warship before it sank showed damage to the port side of the vessel, flames below deck and a thick cloud of black smoke rising into the sky. Russian authorities initially refused to comment on reports of the Moskva's failure, but were later forced to admit the loss. The Defense Ministry eventually announced that one soldier had been killed and at least 27 others were missing. After days of denying the sinking of the warship, having previously claimed that all the crew had been rescued. The Russian authorities' conflicting reports about the sinking and inadequate attempts to cover up the loss of crew members infuriated several Russian families on social media. An emotional post by Dmitry Shkrebets claiming that his son, a conscript who served as a cook on the Moskva, was missing quickly went viral on the internet. The military said the entire crew had been evacuated. This is a lie. A blatant and cynical lie. Shkrebets, a resident of Crimea, wrote on the popular Russian social media platform VK 3 days after the ship sank, "My son, a conscript, as I was told by the commanders of the cruiser Moskva, is not on the list of wounded and dead, but on the list of missing people missing on the open sea." Similar posts quickly followed from other parts of Russia. Associated Press found posts on social media searching for at least 13 other young men who had allegedly served on the Moskva and whose families could not find them.